Hope my screen is visible, guys. I just need a confirmation from you guys. Is my voice audible? Anyone respond? Okay, so good to go, right? So I think in the last session we discussed about string problems. Hope you're solving those problems already. So in today's session, after the session, I'll enable some problems based on Python lists, and you will be solving the same problems in the Moodle as well. Okay, right? So today's agenda: Python list based problems, right? Then we will see 2D lists, how to create 2D list. 2D list in the sense, basically, in C language, we used to create matrices, right? Using two-dimensional arrays. So here also how to create a matrix data, right? Addition, multiplication, how to do it in Python using 2D list we are going to learn, right? Then if we'll see sets and tuple introduction and permits, we will see the problems also. Okay, that is our agenda, right? Quickly we'll go to the problem because as you already know the basics of Python list, we have taught enough about it, correct? How to create Python list, you have idea. Okay, now just to revise your skills, basic skill set. Find. Okay, I think Moodle is not working, right? Just check once. I think the server is off. So just like how you solved basic string operations in Moodle, similarly, I have enabled a question based on how to create operations on the Python list, right? So for example, there might be problem based on reversing, right? Sorting, finding the max and minimum value, finding the index value, check if the element present in the list or not, right? So basically operations on Python you can explore in the model. Operations on Python list on lists. For example, if I have a list, what are all the operations you can do? You can sort them, right? Print sort of A. This. So what is the problem here? Anyone? So what is the sort function? A dot sort, correct? So yes, you need to know the syntaxes. So print A dot sort. So don't always think. Now, even after doing this, why I'm getting null value? So you have to know how to apply the basic list methods in Python, correct? So you know these operations, right? So sort, what is the syntax? Right? So this is the basic syntax, cast dot sort. So why it is not working here? Any suggestion? What is the reason? Sort doesn't return anything. Okay. So what is the way to print it? So what I have to do? So I just have to write a dot sort, then print a. So let's see. Correct. So you should know how to you apply these operations also. You should be very careful. So don't use same formatting what you used in the string operations. So in string operations, we saw reverse, I mean index finding, right? So, but the same thing, if you try to find out maximum of a, see this syntax will work, but this won't work. So you should have a complete understanding on the syntactical rules, right? Then only you'll be able to apply the operations without doing any mistakes. Okay, let me drag it. Understood, no? So list methods in Python. You should know the syntactical rules, right? So append function, you know already how to use the append, a dot append, and you have to mention the value. So always give importance to the syntax. So what is the syntax of sort, right? So the sort method sorts the list by ascending. Default is ascending. If you want it in reverse, you have to mention reverse equal to true. So a dot reverse equal to, right? So this will sort the elements in the descending order. So be careful about the methods that you are going to use for the operations on list, correct? So now the next question will be, so I'm asking you guys try to do it. Change the element at position 4 to 7896, right? How will you do it? So change the element at position 4 to 7896. So what is the element at position 4? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 778. You have to update that element 778 to 7896 and print the basically the values, the sorted values. How will you do it? So should I use it before sorting or after sorting? Try to do it. A dot append. Should I use append or index? Anyone? Append means obviously. What does it do? Append function? It will just add the value at the end of the list, right? So obviously I can't use, or you can change this index to 2, for example. 0, 1, 2. That means I want to change the element that is there at the position 45 to 7896. Now, if you use append, it won't help you because a dot append of 7896. So it appended in the end, right? So we have to append it in the position of 45. So let us remove this sorting or you create new list. P equal to 2, 3, 45, 6, 778, right? So what is the requirement? Change the element, change the element at position 2 to 7896. So how will you do it? What is the way to change it? General way. Anyone? We want to change this 45 to, yes. So Nikhil has given me the answer. So just like normal array, you have to just mention index. So 7896, which index it is? Not 1, it has to be 0, 1, 2, position 2. So now let us print the list. So now you can see it is getting updated. So it is just like a normal array operation, which you should be able to do it without any much trouble, right? Now the same thing, if I want to use inbuilt function, you can use the insert method, right? So you can mention the insert, position, and element. Now let us try to do the same thing. Right. So how to do it? See this list name followed by insert, position, comma, element. So you have to mention the position and element. So what is our list name? B dot insert. What is the position I want to mention? That is 2. And what is the element that I want to insert? 7896. Right? So both will work. So this is also work. So this is just like a C syntax, and this is using the inbuilt function insert. So similarly, go and learn the different operations that list supports, right? Copy, count, return the number of elements with a specified value, right? Again, how to use the count function? List dot count, right? So can we directly print it? Print b dot count. So what is error I'm getting? List dot count takes exactly one argument. So obviously this is the wrong syntax. So what is the syntax? Then the number of times the value 9 appears in the list. So basically number of elements with the specified value. So right now I have to mention, suppose 6 is there. Suppose if it is repeated multiple times. So you have to mention that value inside. Then we'll get how many times that 6 is repeated. Right. So if you want to find out the total size of the list, then you can write print length of B. So how many elements are there? 10 elements are there. So that you can use just like strings. So these are some operations which you can practice in the Moodle, right? Now, based on these operations, we can do some problem solving. So any doubt till here, how to be careful about the syntactical rules. So here, you should be very careful about what is the exact order in which I have to use the syntax. So then only you'll be avoiding all the errors. So pop and remove, all these things you can use. Reverse is the order of the list. This also you can directly use it. List dot reverse, right? Any doubt till now? So let's solve some problem based on list now. Okay. So similarly, if you want to find out the minimum element in the list, you can use min or fade. So all these things, hopefully you know max and min, right? Okay. So let me give you the scenario. Find the maximum. Already you know how will you find the maximum element in the list? Using max function, right? But here I had a predefined values. So I was just passing list to the max function. So it is finding the maximum element. The same operation, I want to do it from the user. So let's see, I want people to be doing it not more than 5 minutes. Okay, you have to solve this problem within 5 minutes because you already know the basics of list. Okay, so finding the maximum element in the list with the twist in the sense not like too much difficult, just change in the way we do it, right? So what I want to do is read the element, read the size of the list first. Read the size of the list. Size of the list means mention how many elements you want in the list, right? That is the first question for me, right? Then enter each values one by one on new line. Then find the maximum element. Okay, so start doing it. So what is my requirement now? First thing is that you have to do is we don't know how many elements we want, so we have to ask the user to enter the number of elements in the list. Then I want you guys to enter each element step by step. I mean one after the other on new line. Then find the maximum element in the list. Okay, so it's a simple scenario. To do this, what you require? So what is the hint you require for this? We already saw. You should know how to enter elements on new line, correct? One by one. So reading part, you should be having a clarity. Then for every line, for every step, you have to append the element into the list, correct or not? So this is the second step, right? So obviously you require for loop for this. So use for loop, traverse up to the size of the list. For every step, you read the element first, right? Enter the element. Then after entering, append that element into the list. So for this, we can take empty list. So we can create an empty list first, correct? Then append the element. So once you're done with this, then use the max function to find the maximum element, correct? So these are the hints that I'm giving you. But within 5 minutes, you should be able to solve this, because if you know how to read the elements on new line one by one, that is the only change compared to what I have done here. So here I have used the compile time initialization, correct? But here I am asking for the runtime initialization. So just for like revision, how many of you are able to do it? So I want the answer by next 5 minutes. 6:21 now, just 6:25 maximum. Let's see. Anyone? If you are getting any doubt, you can ask me. Those who are able to understand, you can continue. Okay. So Nikhil has already done it, correct? Yes. So that's what I was expecting. So obviously, first step is to read the size of the list. So int of input. Ritvikesh is sending the code with comment line. Okay, nice. I think he's very dedicated. Anyway, int of input, right? So that is basically mentioning the size of the list. So if you want to enter each values on new line for I in range of n, correct? That's what we want. Or for x in range, Pawan is telling x in range, anything is fine. So I think most of you are following the same step, right? So for I in range of n, so you can read another variable, the element int of input. Why int of input? Because we are dealing with integer values. So int of input, this is the size of the list. This is the every element that I'm reading into the B. Then what we have to do? So before doing this, we have to create an empty list. So let's create an empty list as a equal to 2 brackets, right? Next, what we have to do? Append that B to A. So A dot append of B, right? So list name followed by the append function followed by B. So this is the step we have to do, keep on doing. Then directly print the largest number. Right, largest number in the list is. So max of A. So let's try to do it. So how should I enter the values? So the requirement is you have to enter on new line. So if you enter on the same line, you'll get the error. Correct? So the largest number is 123. So let us try to enter all the values on the same line. So we'll get this error, invalid literal int with base 10, right? So it's a simple question. So most of you hope you are able to understand. Now, so here, what is that we are using? Basics for loop we are using, but sometimes what happens, some students will, you know, copy from others, or they find the solution somewhere and they think that would be fine with it, right? Suppose let's try to solve the same problem in different way. Okay. So for I in reach, see, if you want to start the range or the index from 1 also, you can do 1 comma n plus 1 also you can do. That means your index starting from 1 instead of 0. This is also fine. So rest everything remains same. A dot append p. Right. So after this, what some people will do is they will sort the list, A dot sort. Then they will try to print the last element using negative indexing, right? So what is A of -1? See, after sorting, you know the largest element will go to the backside, right? For example, so if you take 2, 5, 6, 8, 9. So after sorting, what happens? So 2, okay, sorry, it's already sorted, right? So 2, 10, 8, 6, 3. Suppose this is our input. After sorting, it becomes 2, 3, 6, 8, 10. Right? So now what they do, they'll access the last value. So you know the negative indexing, right? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 in that order. So they'll try to access the last element and they want to print it, right? So the same thing can be done here. Okay, so the maximum element is 5. But the problem with this approach, what could be the problem with this approach? Can anyone tell me? What is, both of them are giving you the same output. What is the problem in this approach? So we are using sort function, right? So sort function in Python. So you should always think about time complexity. See, when I type this, Google is already giving the possible suggestions. So sort function in Python, time complexity. So let's see. The sort function can be used to sort the list both in ascending and can be used to sort the list of integers. Okay. Its time complexity is O of n log n. See here, O of n log n. So when you are using this approach, it becomes, your time complexity becomes, right? So O of n log n. Whereas for the previous approach, if you're using this approach, the time complexity is just O of n. Why O of n? Because maximum you are reaching to the end of the list and finding the maximum element, right? But here you have to sort it, right? So you are sorting it means you are unnecessarily taking the extra time. So you have to be careful about this kind of approaches. So whether it is good approach or whether it's unnecessary. So another way is you can just access n minus 1 also. You can get the last element. So this is alternative solution, but not efficient. Why not efficient? Because sort function takes more time than the previous approach. So give attention to this kind of small detailings in the code that you are learning, right? So learning is important. Now here also we are using 3 lines. So I taught already list comprehension. So those who remember it, they can be able to solve it. So the same problem, can you guys try using list comparison? That means read the size of the list, enter the elements one by one, and find the maximum. So list comprehension you can use to find the maximum element. Anyone can try. You can create an empty list. So using list comprehension, I want you guys to try it. So how will you use the list comprehension technique to read the elements each on the new line? First line will be same because you want to read the size of the list. Then the second line should be what? What is the list comprehension syntax? Expression for I in iterable, correct? That is what we learned. So the same problem can be simplified further. Int of input. So Kirti has sent it. Int of input, right? For I in range of n. So this will also read each elements one by one and print max of a. Right. So we got the maximum element as 65,466. So same problem you saw, there are two, three approaches. So you should be careful about which one works best for you during the problem solving or to match the test case. Okay, so any doubt in this? Hope you understood. Simple question only, but you saw how can we solve it in different angles. So keeping the same kind of problem in mind, so let us a little bit increase the complexity of the question, right? So that we can give some work to your head, how to think about the logic, right? So the question goes like this. Find the smallest number in the list greater than 10. Okay, so that is a question. So what do you understand by this? Our list is something like this. Let us take the list as 2, 5, 8, 10, 16, 70, 25. Okay. Suppose this is your input elements of the list, correct? So what we are looking for is, so this is the condition they have given, right? So find the smallest number in the list greater than 10 or smallest thing in the list greater than 10, right? So obviously, if we talk about 2, so let us talk about 2. Can we consider 2 as the smallest number greater than 10? No, because it is the smallest, but it is not greater than 10. Can we think about 5? This also we can't consider. Can we think about 8? This also we can't consider because we are looking for smallest number in the list greater than 10, right? So let us think about 60. Okay, time being we can think about 60. Though it is greater than 10, we are not sure whether it is smallest number greater than 10 because we have not yet reached the dead end of the list, correct? There are two more elements, right? Now, the next element is 70. Again, 70 is the greater than 10, but whether it is smallest or not, we don't know. So we have to keep it on hold, correct? So these two are the possibilities. Then we reach the last element of the list, correct? The last element is 25. Now, compared to all the elements that we saw till now, from first to last, right? So now you can think about this 25. Now you can compare with these two, right? Now 25 is the smallest number in the list, greater than 10. There are no other numbers which matches this criteria. 60 and 70 are there, but they are not the smallest numbers which are greater than 10 in the existing list, right? So what should be our output? So our output should be 25. So the smallest number in the list greater than 10 is 25, the answer we should get. So this is the problem definition. So let us go back to our problem. Try to see what we can do. What is the approach you can follow? You can take some time. Vijay Chandra has given some solution already. What if you want index of max element? Index you can access using normal, Python functions, list functions, right? So you can use return the index of the maximum first element of the specified value. So first you can find out the maximum element, then that value you can give to the index. So it will find out the index of that element. So try to take your time. So don't send me the answers. I will give you a lot of criteria and the test cases I will give you. So you can check whether your code works or not. So let's see one by one. Jay Chandra has sent some code. We'll check it. Okay, one more condition is I will simplify your job. What you can do is read the elements of the list all on same line separated by comma. That is what I want, right? So comma means suppose if you take a number, so let's 2 comma 3 comma 5 comma I want. You have to enter the numbers separated by comma, right? So all on the same line. So no need to mention the size of the list. So for this problem, directly enter the all the elements all on the same line separated by comma. So there is no limit on size of the list. So you can keep on adding as many elements as you want. So keeping this point in mind, we'll check okay, electrolytic. And one more thing is, if the list don't have the smallest number greater than 10, then print no such element or not found. You can just print not found because we need to think about the edge case also. This is called as edge case. What if the list doesn't contain any such number which is smallest, which is greater than 10, right? So what if that number itself doesn't exist in the list? So here I have to enter the size of the list, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is an empty sequence, so I don't know. This is not working for me. So Vijay Chandra has to clarify how to enter the elements for this. Okay, I think he has changed something here. Minimum argument is empty sequence, so it's not working for me. Avinash, min list of 0 for L list if L is greater than 10, min of L. Okay, so try to send the complete code so that we can test it. Of code we can't test it. Int of x for x in input dot split. So she's entering all the values. I mean, Nikhil is entering all the values on the same line. So again, same error. Main argument is empty sequence. So try to check what is the wrong with this code. So let me give you some hint so that you can start thinking about it. So let us see the approach first. Simple approach we will see. You can compare my code with yours later on because we need to go ahead with a few more problems. So let us not spend much time, but understand the all the scenarios and test cases. Okay. So first thing is, what is my first question? I want you guys to enter all the elements, separated by comma. So I won't enter the elements like this. So how will you enter the elements separated by comma? A equal to input dot split comma. That is one thing. Very good. What is another method? So I told you guys to use eval function. If you remember, I taught you eval function. So without using any such input dot split comma, you can directly use eval. Right. So we can just try first this one whether it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you see here, eval is by default, it reads the data in the form of tuple, right? If you're seeing the normal bracket in the output, you should be able to understand that it is a tuple, not the list, right? So eval by default reads the data in the form of tuple. Okay, fine. A lot of people are trying to do it, but okay, let me give my approaches for this, and you can compare with your approach, and you'll see what is the best approach we can follow. Okay, this is the first question. Now, next, what I will do is, okay, let's do one thing. Instead of you guys giving the same solution on your own individually, let us follow my instructions first. Then based on my instructions, you guys need to write the code. Okay. So I'll write the step here. Okay. So first step is that you read the values. Okay. Read the list of values separated by comma. That is done, right? Separated by comma. Okay. So second step, follow my approach and let's do like this. So as soon as I type it, you guys need to respond with the corresponding syntax or the code. Okay. So second step, what I want to do is take a variable, and assign maximum value of the list to it. So give me the line for this. Give me the code for this. What I'm asking for you. Sure. take a variable, you can assign any variable and assign maximum value to it. Very good. So Kirti has done it. So that is my second step. We'll move to the next step. Now use for loop to iterate on the list. Okay. Inside the for loop, check the condition. If condition, you can use. If condition. What we are looking for? We are looking for if the element that we are looking for is greater than 10, right? Greater than 10 or not? Yes. So element should be greater than 10, but it should be smallest among the entire list. Smallest among the entire list. So here in this case, so assume this is 19. Okay, so we have to compare using if condition. So if 10 is greater than whatever the element that you are looking for, I assume that I is the element that you are entering, iterating in the loop, right? Then whatever the maximum value that you have assigned to the variable. So suppose assume that the variable name is small. So I want you guys to write this sentence. Suppose if this condition is true, so what I will do, I will assign that small to I, correct? Why we are doing this? Our condition is says that it should be greater than 10, but it should be smallest among the entire list. So in this case, two options are there. So 8 is there, 19 is there, correct? So which one is our output? 8 should be our output, right? 19 cannot be our output. So that's why what we are doing is first we are assuming finding the maximum value among the entire list. Finding the maximum value among the entire list. So what is our maximum value in this case? So max value is 19, right? Then using the loop, we are iterating one by one from the first value, comparing with 10. So initially 2 is not greater than 10. So this is gone. Then 3, not greater than 10, gone case. 4 is not greater than 10. 5 is not greater than 10. 10 again, with 10 also we can't consider. So 10 also ignored. So here 8 also ignored. Okay, let us take this as 18. Okay, not 8, sorry. So 18. Now 18 is greater than 10. So what we will do is this condition becomes true. So 10 is greater than 18 is greater than 19. Both conditions are true, right? Because we are assuming that the maximum value, we are storing it in small variable. So our maximum value is this one, right? So this entire condition becomes true. So once this condition is true, what we are doing, whatever the ith index value is there, that value we are assigning, that value we are assigning it to small. Now, this itself, we are assuming, making it as a maximum element, right? Then we go back to the for loop, go to the next element. So what is our next element? 19. So we'll compare now 10, 19, and this value got updated. So this also 19. So this condition is true, 19 is greater than 10, but this condition is false. So we won't again reassign our maximum value with this one, right? So finally, whatever the value we got in the small, that will be our output, correct? So finally, what I will do in the fourth step is, okay, so in the fourth step, what we will do, print the small variable value itself as the smallest number. Okay, so this is what you need to use. So hope you are able to understand what I have done here. So let us try this in our code. So what I told you, find some variable and assign maximum of L to it, right? Then for each element in the list. So for I in L, what we have to check if 10 less than I less than small. So what I have to do if this condition is true, small equal to I. That's what we want to do. Then once the loop is over, so what I will print, smallest number greater than 10 is, right? So where is our output? In the small variable. So let us check this. 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 18, 19. So what is output we are getting? 19 we are getting. Now let us ask you guys, does this particular code, so forget about whatever you are doing, don't copy from here and there, understand my approach, okay? So learn by understanding the logic is important, okay? Because you get the solution everywhere because these are all basic problems. But whether you are able to confidently apply your logic into it is what you have to learn, okay? Now identify the loophole in this code, or if it is a perfect code, tell me, sir, no problem, this will work. So let's do one thing. I'll enter all the elements as 10. Now this is the problem, right? Because it is returning smallest number greater than 10 is 10. Again, this should not be done. Exactly. Sir, what about if maximum element is smallest greater? This is what I want expecting. This question only I was expecting. Yeah, edge case I will include, Avinash. But let's identify this problem first. So as Nitin told, what if our all elements are less than 10 only? Now this is very wrong, right? So my input is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the smallest number greater than 10, I am getting it as 5. Why I'm getting it as 5? Can anyone tell me? Because at this second step, we are identifying the maximum element from the existing list, which is 5. And when we are iterating in the loop, there is no change here because all the condition will be false. 1 is not greater than 10, 2 is not greater than 10, 3 is not greater than 10. So like that. So this value we are not even updating. So finally, we'll print the smallest value itself as the number which is greater than 10. But this is wrong, right? It won't help our cause. So you should identify the mistake in this. Now, same code, I want you guys to update it. What else we can do so that we'll get the exact output. So let's do like this. I will give you the hint. So what I will do is I'll take one flag variable and whatever the small we just stored here, I will assign that same value to the flag. Okay. Then before printing, edge case also we are covering in this. So if small is not equal to flag. Okay. So now this is solving my problem or not? So what I did here, can anyone understand and explain what I did? So I copied that the largest element which I stored in small to flag. Then once I come out of the for loop, whatever the small element we got here, that I am comparing it to flag. Only if it is not same as the original number, which we stored it as a max, then we are printing that as the smallest number greater than 10 is small, right? Else I'm printing it as not found. But does it again cover all my edge cases, all my problem? Can you give me any other scenario where this code also may not work? Can you give me any input values? Anyone? So let us try different set of values: 10, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exactly. So Kirti got it right. Now, what is the mistake with this? So suppose 18, 19, 20. This will work. I'll give 10, 20, 20, 20, 20. All 20s I'll give. Then I'll give some 10s also. Now, in this case, what should be your expected output? Anyone? In this case, should I just print not found, or should I print smallest number greater than 10 is 20? What should be the output for this test case? Correct. So Mohammed is telling 20. So obviously the problem with this edge case is, what is this edge case or I'm talking about? Whatever the maximum element that I'm assuming, right? So we took some numbers, right? 10, 20, 20, 20, 10. So first thing we will do is we'll find the maximum element from the list. So what is our maximum element? 20. Now we are trying to look for, is there any other element which is greater than 10 and less than 20? So in this case, there is no element which is greater than 10 and less than 20. That means the 20 itself is the next available smallest number greater than 10. But instead of printing this 20 as the output, we are getting not found with this solution, right? So if there is only one value greater than 10, we get wrong answer. Yes, correct. That's what I was trying to explain. So what could be the possible changes in the same code which we can improvise further to get the correct output for this test case? Can anyone try? Okay, Mani Teja is telling if small is greater than 10, print. That solve all type of problems if small is greater than 10 only. Okay, so fine. So let us try different possible solutions. So let us try all 20s. Correct. So hope this one you got understood, right? So instead of checking if smallest is not equal to flag, we have done this one. If this is confusing, what else you can do? So Avinash got it right. Very good. So what he's doing, instead of comparing before this line, what I had written, if small is not equal to flag, correct? So I was trying to compare flag value with the small value. If both of them are not same, then only I was trying to print. But this is the edge case which I was not getting correct. So this also had to be removed. This is one way to do it. Any other answers? So generally what people uses, suppose if many people can't understand this thing, means if there is a change inside the loop, right? Some operation happened inside the loop. So what they'll do is uh, they'll use another, maybe, okay, let me just remove this. I'll try to make it as max one equal to max one. Then I'll use flag equal to false. Okay. So then inside the loop, if there is a change in the output, I mean, if condition is true, we will update the small variable, right? Along with that, we will also set the flag value to true. That means there is some change happened inside the loop. So now instead of this condition, I can just directly write flag. So let's see if it works or not. This again won't work. So I have to update my statements here. Flag, what we have to do is we have to make it initially false. Okay, so again, here also the same problem we will face because this is an edge case which will not help me. So the only way for this is checking small is greater than 10. Okay. Yes, what is the question? Can't we append the numbers based on 10 to do? This is a very good question. But the problem with this is, right? So what you are doing is you are wasting unnecessary memory and space. You are creating another list, find the minimum value. So your code should be written in such a way that you are using the least possible resources. That is my best suggestion. Okay. This is also possible. But if you are unnecessarily creating another list, if you are using minimum function, so you are spending some more extra time to do all that. So obviously your code will take more time to execute compared to the one who is following this approach, right? So definitely that will not solve your problem. Yeah. One more thing is you can just somebody suggested here. Yeah, this is also correct. Yes. So in this case, what is happening? I will only update the flag value to true if the number is greater than 10, not equal to 10. Correct. So you can update the if condition also in this way. So 10 is less than I, equal to small, small equal to I, flag equal to true. Now this will work because we want it to be greater than 10 at any cost. So I think Aditya found the mistake in my code. So that's what you have to identify the mistake in the code and come up with your own access. So no matter how many times you enter, I will enter all 20 only, right? So smallest number greater than 10 is 20 itself. So what if I enter all tens? If I enter all tens, what should be my output? Not found because we are looking for greater than 10. So this is one solution which you can use. Simple ways, check if small is greater than 10. That will also help you, right? Somebody suggested me they use some sort function here, right? So where I saw here. So sort function again you can use it, but that again takes extra space and memory to evaluate, right? So you can assume smallest as none. This is another way. So instead of assuming maximum of the list as the smallest, we can assume smallest as none, right? So for I in range, not range, you can use sorted function. So there is a sorted function. Okay, sorry. From when I was on mute? Okay, then no issue. So hope you are understanding what I did here. I think I pressed some shortcut key. Maybe I got it on mute. Okay. So you understood here, right? So sorted will sort the input list and we are checking if there is a number greater than 10. Then we assign that number to small and we immediately break out of the loop. Then we'll print that. My question is, how will you print the not found condition with this approach? Because we have assigned that small value to none. What you can write? You can use if condition if small is not none. Correct? So if small is not none, then only we will print it. Else print not found. So let us take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are getting not found. So we can again write this entire statement in a single line because uh, as I told you, Python supports multiple expression on the same line. So smallest number is small. You can write only if small is not none, else not found. You can write the entire statement if condition on the same print line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So smallest number is not found. So this also is possible. Fine. But again, what is the problem with this approach? Because here again, we are using the sorted function. So you have to look into the time complexity of sorted function in Python. Again, it is O of n log n. So whether it is which solution you will follow, this is not most efficient as it is taking more time. Correct? So which solution is better? This is better, right? Because here we are not using any unnecessary inbuilt function. So it is only takes O of n. Here it is taking O of n log n. So both approaches are not going to help you because sorry, this approach is not going to help you because it is taking more time than this one. Correct? So we should know all these conditions before following any approach, right? So hope you understood this question, how to think and go step by step instead of directly trying to go for the actual question. Any doubt here? But I'll give you one more condition. The same code here, small we have assigned to none, right? So let's see whether it works in all the case because I have faced this problem when I was trying. So let's see how many of you will understand. So let us assign the small equal to none for x in L if x is greater than 10, correct? So small equal to I. So I won't break here. I'll just keep on doing it because here I'm not sorting. So if x is greater than 10, I'll separate the two condition. And if x is less than small, this is what I'm trying to do. It should be greater than 10 and it should be less than the assumed small, right? So then I'll print smallest is small. Okay, let's try this one. So here I'm getting smallest is none, right? Because this again didn't update. Let's try 10, 20. Okay, sorry. Small equal to x. Thank you. So let us give 10, 20. This input will do. Okay, now tell me why I'm getting this error. So less than not supported between instances of intent none type. Can anyone understand what is this error? Type error. Less than symbol not supported between instances of intent and. So in this case, we were not comparing with x is less than small, right? Because the input was already sorted. So we need not to compare with whether it is less than the assumed small. So in this approach, we assume that the maximum element we were finding max of L, and that itself we were assuming it as small. But in this approach, we are not finding the maximum element. Instead, we are storing the smallest element as none initially, none in the sense empty. Then we are checking here if the element in the list is greater than 10 and it is less than small. So if you take the input, so 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, right? This is your input, right? So you are checking, suppose assume this 20 is the input. So 20 is greater than 10, condition is true, and is there. And we're trying to compare that 20, whether it is less than small, right? So less than small we are comparing. But the small value data type is what? The small value data type is none, correct? It is none. So you can't compare integer with none is what it is trying to tell us. Now, how to overcome this? Can't compare with none. So we have to check whether we are comparing for the very first time, yes or no. That is my hint. So when we are comparing the element for the very first time, we have to check if the smallest element is still none, right? If it is still none, we have to include that condition also inside if. So can you do that? So what is my hint I'm giving? So check if you are comparing the element with small for the very first time, right? That's what I'm trying to give the hint. That means before checking this, we have to check if the small is still none. If the small is still none, right? We have to assign that small to x, correct or not? Instead of directly comparing with x is less than small. So how will you do it? So there will be multiple conditions for this, correct? So this condition has to be true, and this condition also has to be true. But before this, what is the one more condition that could arrive? This one, right? So what if the first element itself is none? So how will you overcome this problem? Anyone? So you can take this hint and try to change this if condition. So what is the hint I have given? Check if you're comparing the element with small for the very first time. So there should be one more condition attached to this if. So what could be that one more condition? Okay, very good. So Mani Teja has given me. If x is greater than 10 and x is less than small, so let us put this entire two conditions inside the bracket. X is less than small, or we can use or condition, right? Or operator, or x is, or if small is none. If it is still none, correct? We can just write like this, small is none. Okay. So let's see if it works. See, again, this will not work because before comparing this, you are comparing this element. So what we have to do, we have to put this element, this entire condition first, then go to the second condition, because there is a possibility that we will encounter this before this, right? For the very first element. So this order of the comparison also is very important, right? So now in this case, we got the output because when we give the input like this, correct? So initially 10 we are comparing, so it is false. Then we are comparing 20, so 20 is greater than 10, that is also true. And condition we are going, small is none or not for the very first time, yes, we are for the very first time small is none, that condition is also true. Then or we are going, then x is less than small. See, in this case, we won't, the condition won't even go to this part because here itself, the comparer will stop. It won't even go to the next part. Then it will update the small value to 20, correct? And when we go for the next element, right, 20, so what happens? X is greater than 10. This condition is true and small is none. This condition will be false. And we go to this one. So in this case, what is our x? X is 20 and small is also 20. Both the conditions are false. Now we are comparing integer values with integer value, right? So these are the small things which you need to understand when you're working with the codes. So did everyone understood how to find the loopholes, edge cases? Why I've taken this much time for this problem is you saw different approaches and you should be in a position to understand every line of your code and you should be able to justify why you have written that. Okay. And you have to think about all the possible test cases. Why I'm getting this test case not matching, why I'm getting all the test cases not matching, because a lot of such conditions will be there. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Okay, so can we quickly move on to the next set of topics? So we have few more minutes of time left out. So next questions I'll quickly go. So take your time later on. Don't send me some random codes. Think based on my approach, whatever I'm giving you. Try to think first. If you are not able to solve, then you can look for the answers, no issue. But at least 50-70% you should try by yourself. Whenever you're facing issue, you can ask your friends and complete it, not an issue. But trying from your side is very important. Okay. So there is some inbuilt uh, library is there in the Python list. So I'll just give this instruction so that you can use it whenever you are required. Okay. So see this code and see, understand what is happening here. So what is happening here? Anyone? So AIF elements of list one and list two are combined, pairing up the same indices. So very good. So it is pairing up the same indices is what you are understanding. So just remember this one. You can utilize this syntax for the problem that I'm going to give next. So zip function, you can explore later on. Zip function in Python. So you have to just pass two lists to it. So zip of A and B, right? So it will display the data in the binary format if you don't convert it into a required format. By default, it is tuple, but if you want the result, you have to convert it back to list. Okay. So you can later on explore this function. But right now, just remember this and whatever the question that I'm going to ask next, you can use this approach or you can use this syntax to find the solution. Okay. Okay, so we are dealing with two list here, right? So you can read the list elements one by one, so separated by comma. So you can separate it by commas, read two lists. That is my first step. Then what is the question that I'm asking? Find the larger element of two lists at each index. So understand the question here. Suppose assume my first list is 5, 15, and 25, and second list is 10, 3, and 50. So say, for example, this list is L and this list is M. Okay. Now what I'm looking for is I want a final list, right? In the list format only at each index. Index in the sense, so this is 0 index, first index, second index, correct? So I want larger element at each index from both the list compared, right? You have to compare both the list. That means you are comparing 5 and 10. So which one is larger in 5 and 10? 10, right? So at this 0th position, I want 10 as the answer. Similarly, for 15 and 3, I want, which should be the answer? 15 is the largest, right? So here I want 15 as the output. And for the third position, 25 and 50 are comparing. So what should be my output? 50. So overall output is 10, 15, and 50 should be my output on the screen. Correct. So what you can do for this? Simple approaches. Simple approach is what? You can use for loop, correct? Because both the list has to be same size. That is my condition. Constraint is both the list should be of the same size. So you can read L and M as the list values. Then you can keep one more resultant list, right? Empty list. So for I in range, so how long I have to keep on to continuing for checking? As long as the last element of the list is reached. So what should be my for loop condition for I in range? Length of L or M, any one thing, right? So as long as we reach the dead end of the any one of the list, L or M, we have to keep on iterating. Then tell me what should be the next step. While reading only, I mean after reading we are doing this. So you can compare the element at each index, right? So if L of I is greater than M of I, you can append it. Correct. So what I'm trying to give the answer here is, so let's try to do it. So take the two list L equal to eval of input. So why I'm using eval, you hope you understood, because I want the input separated by comma. So input resultant list I want, because I want the output in the list format. Let's say the resultant list name is RES. So what I want is for I in range of length of L, because we don't know what is the size of the list. So we have to find out total number of elements in the list. So length of L is what we have to check. Basic approaches, you can use the for loop. If L of I is greater than M of I. So what we are doing here, we are comparing the element at each index. If L list index is greater than M list index. So what I have to do here, tell me. We have to append which element to the resultant variable. So we have to do some appending, right? Which one we have to append? If if L list element is greater than M list element, which element we have to append? How will you write the sentence? So I'll give the hint, append L list element to RES. That is the syntax, right? So append L list element to RES. So whatever the L list element we are looking for, that has to be appended to the resultant list. So very good, Maniteja, very good. So res dot append of res dot append of L of I. See here, we are not inserting a single element, we are inserting the element based on the index, right? So obviously to the append function, we have to pass L of I, whatever the index that we are looking for. So L of I will give us that. If this condition is false, right? If this condition is false, then what we have to do? Sorry, not print. So result dot append of M of I, correct? So it's a simple condition. Then finally, what we have to do? Just print the resultant list. So let's enter the elements 5, 10, 15 on the first line, 10, 5, 50 on the next line. So what is the output I'm getting? 10, 10, 50. So this is a basic approach, correct? Now some people already solved it using zip. I don't know whether they understood or not. So here the same problem can be solved using zip. So let us see this approach. Somebody sent it. Okay. So using zip also we can do it, but the output is not coming in the required format. Avinash has to reassess his code because I want them in the format of list only. So he is using zip function, iterating over each list A and B. Then from each list, he is trying to print out the maximum of 5. That's fine. Okay, this is fine, but just few more changes in your code is required. Okay, here also Nikhil has done very big code. I think this is also not needed, Nikhil. This much effort is not needed. That condition I already told you, Declan Rice. Maybe I think he's trying to impress me. No problem. So what if both the lists have different size? That is my first explanation, right? Both the lists should be of the same size is what I told you. This question will not exist if both the lists have the different size. Okay. That all those conditions will be mentioned in the question. So we can further simplify this approach. Eval of input. Okay. So you can just use the list comprehension along with zip function to simplify the approach. And why maximum is not working, just check it out. So we can pass some indexes to it, maximum of I comma j for I comma j in zip of L comma m, right? So what we have done here is, see here. So for every index, see zip function, what does it do? You understood, correct? So it extracts index from each position from list 1 and list 2 and combines them. So I and j, we are taking it as a formal parameters, right? So for maximum of I and j, we are finding. So using zip, we extract first element into I, second list element into j, then try to find out maximum of ij until as long as we reach the dead end of the list. So we are not using any uh, maximum or comparison operation length. We are not using to find out how many elements are in the list. Zip will take care of that, right? So zip of L of m, maximum of ij for I comma j in zip. So when you learn some functions, right? So like this zip function, you should be thinking how to apply that question on the problems, right? So it is not going to be easy just on first day. You have to keep on thinking about how to incorporate that function in our problem solving. So it requires everyday practice, right? So then only you'll be able to think about it. Okay, I can use zip in this angle also. And we combined zip with the list comprehension because in a single line, I'm able to do it, right? So max of ij, we are passing two parameters to max function, and it is going to return the biggest of both I and j. So in that way also, we can try to do it. Suppose if it is finding difficult, I mean, if you're finding this difficult to think even, you can find the same approach, whatever I have used here in the previous way. Okay. So you can just use result for I in range of length of L, right? So if you don't want to compare manually like this, if L of I is greater than M of I, and then append, so you can take some max variable, then using max function, pass two parameters to it. So L of I, comma, M of I. This is also fine because max will take every index value from L and M, then it find out the maximum of that. Then this maximum only I'll append it to the list. Result dot append of max, right? So this is also possible. Int object is not callable. So just find out some for I in range. Let's change the variable name because max is already inbuilt. So there is some syntax mistakes, so you can just go through this later. But this should definitely work. Okay, just try to type this in your compiler and check if it works or not. Max one of max of L of I, comma, M of I. This should work actually. Anyway, you have three approaches in front of you. This is also fine, but he has to get the desired output in the format of list. So try to make the same question in the format of list. Whoever sent that, yeah, I think I got one more solution here. Int object is not callable. Same error here. Just check it out. Maybe space you're not good. Okay. Syntax errors you should be able to look into later. Can max have two parameters? Yes. So this you will understand only when you know the syntax. Okay. See here. The max function returns the item with the highest value or the item with the highest value in an iterable. See, there is no limit on max function. You can add as many elements as you want. One or more items to compare. So whenever you see some function, first job is to see the syntax and understand how to apply that function into our code. Without knowing how to use it, we will get all the syntax errors. Okay, so like this, hope you are able to understand the problems. So in a similar way, I'll be adding few problems in Moodle. So try to solve today and tomorrow in the lab, right? So maybe tomorrow we will go a little bit fast because I had planned a lot of topics to be covered today, right? So any doubts till now? So are you able to understand, enjoy the questions? Yeah, Moodle is not opening. Yeah, morning you can try in the lab directly. Maybe they have turned off the server. I don't know. Yeah, we can use map function. So can we go a bit fast in the coming sessions, right? Because a lot of topics. So until Friday, one more session I'll conduct on Friday. After that, I'll give the gap. You can complete your lab, I mean your mid exams. Once your mid exams are over, we will resume the sessions. Okay. So Friday will be our last session until the mid exams are completed. We will resume the online sessions after the mid exam so that you can concentrate on your mid exams. But don't lose the interest. Keep working. Whoever is able to understand and solve, right? So in the coming sessions, I'll try to go a bit fast because a lot of topics are there. A lot of topics I need to cover still. So problem solving, I was just trying to explain you how to think about the approach. So next session, we will try to solve a lot of problems a bit fast so that we can cover other topics as well. Fine. So I'll see you on Friday. Till then, keep practicing. Thank you.